So it looks like there was like a really good riot going on down in Atlanta the other day. If there's one thing that I like, it's a good riot. To me, a good riot is where you're like, the government screwed me over. I'm gonna riot against them. An angry citizen. That's a good riot. A bad riot is where like, the government shot my dog. I want to burn down my neighbor's barber shop. That's a stupid riot. That's normally what Antifa riots are, stupid ones. But this seems like a pretty, crazy riot. And I just want to look into it. We'll dig into it, see if we can see what happened here, what's going on here, maybe have some jokes. Uh, but let's look at the article. It says 23 charged with domestic terrorism at Atlanta police protest. And it says they actually arrested 35 people after they destroyed construction equipment at a training facility referred to as Cop City. Environmental and anti-police protesters had attacked the site several times. So I don't know if it's an environmentalist terrorism or anti-police protesters, but we're going to dig in here and find out. It says here that officials in the southern U.S. state of Georgia on Monday announced that 23 protesters, including a Frenchman and a Canadian, have been charged with domestic terrorism after Atlanta police arrested 35 people on Sunday. All right, I'm already seeing an issue right here. Let me see if we can pull up. Okay, so it says on this side, okay, 23 charged with domestic terrorism, including a Frenchman and a Canadian. Now, I always knew that we couldn't trust French Canadians. But when you put French and Canadians together, it's probably even worse. But domestic terrorism is the committing of terrorist acts in the perpetrator's own country against their fellow citizens. So, my question to you, Georgia, is what kind of crack you all got down there? Because you can't charge someone from Canada and France with domestic terrorism if they come to our country and commit terrorism. That's called terrorism, not domestic. I don't know if you're following me here. Let me try to explain this to you, Georgia. I know if you're from Georgia, so I'm gonna try and explain it to you in a way you can understand. Okay, if you go to your neighbor's house and punch their neighbor in the wife, I mean, punch your neighbor's wife in the face, right? That is not domestic assault. Okay, that's a home invasion. Are you following me, Georgia? Okay, don't punch your neighbor in the wife. That's not domestic assault. I don't know, like, get your definitions right, then make the charges what they should be. Let's just go back to the article, Georgia. Come on. All right, so arrest took place after a music event turned violent. A music event? What the? It's a music festival? When black-clad participants stormed the construction site of the Atlanta Public Safety Center in DeKalb County, derisively referred to as Cop City by detractors, throwing rocks and Molotovs at police and setting several pieces of heavy equipment on fire. Hundreds of people attended Sunday's events. The illegal actions of the agitators could have resulted in bodily harm. You think? It's just rocks and Molotovs, pussy. Officers exercise restraint and use non-lethal enforcement to conduct arrests. Oh, that's good. When you throw commercial-grade fireworks, when you throw Molotov cocktails, Police Chief Schreierbaum said, your only intent is to harm. This is not a protest. This is criminal activity. I don't know, man. I've thrown rocks and fireworks without like trying to harm them. Have you ever heard of the 4th of July? Media outlets reported that black smoke could be seen billowing from the site for miles. Several law enforcement agencies were involved in quelling the unrest. Very violent attack, he said. It was a very violent attack. This was not about a public safety training center. This was about anarchy. Okay, look, I really wish everyone would stop using the word anarchy if you don't know what it means, right? Like, anarchy is the idea of a society without a state, without government, Anarchy does not mean chaos. Anarchy does not mean organizing into a group to throw Molotov cocktails at construction equipment. Okay, that is an organized attack. That's not anarchy. If you don't know what the fuck anarchy means, stop calling it anarchy. It's getting fucking old. All right? Georgia's Republican Governor Brian Kemp on Monday said that the people involved in the Sunday's incident chose destruction and vandalism over legitimate protest, yet again demonstrating the radical intent behind their actions. What is the intent? Has anyone said what their intent is? Because it sounds like they came from like a music festival and maybe someone passed out the purple acid. We don't like. Can we get to the intent? As I said before, domestic terrorism will not be tolerated in this state. Even if you're from another country, we won't tolerate domestic terrorism in this state, said Kemp. We will not rest until those who use violence and intimidation for an extremist end are brought to full justice. Now, the definition of terrorism is to use violence and fear in order to achieve a political goal. What's the political goal? Oh, well, maybe the picket signs can tell us. Defend the forest. Stop Cop City. So are they tearing down a forest to build Cop City? Is this the political motivation to save forests and the environment by starting large fires that billow black smoke into the sky that can be seen from... Look, I'm not saying environmentalists are smart, all right? I'm just saying... They're also quite a good-looking bunch of chaps and fellows here. Okay, protesters opposed militarized police and the destruction of city forest for a police facility. So it's a city forest. You know, I don't live in the city. I don't understand you people, okay? The forest is outside of the city, guys. They make them out there. The Atlanta City Council approved a $90 million Atlanta Public Safety Training Center in 2021, saying that the state-of-the-art campus would replace substandard existing facilities and boost police morale. The Police and Fire Training Center is being built on 85 acres of a 400-acre property. It is designed to include classrooms, administrative buildings, a shooting range, a driving skills area to practice chases, and a burn building for firefighters to train on. Well, they brought you your training materials. They were starting fires. You're supposed to be training firefighters there. Like that. Why didn't you just two birds? You know, just two birds with one scone. And a mock village with a home. That way they can practice, you know, rounding up everyone in your community, putting you in the let's see, a convenience store and nightclub for law enforcement to conduct tactical exercises. Those who oppose the militarization of the police say the site will be used to train for urban warfare. Have you ever been to Chicago? It's basically urban warfare. Atlanta, this is where they're doing this. Yeah, it's a lot of urban warfare going on. Like, I don't know. You might be right. That's probably what they're training for. Self-described defenders of the forest say construction will involve cutting down so many trees in the Wheelance Forest southeast of Atlanta, one of the largest urban forests in the U.S., that it would be environmentally damaging for the city's 6 million residents. Then followed by this picture that's not environmentally damaging at all. Yeah. I wonder if it's environmentally damaging to just start large fires and torch stuff, but bad. Look, if you really cared about the environment, you probably wouldn't live in the city. how Georgia lawmakers reacted to protests. You know, because we make the food out here in the country, right? And then we have to use all this, like, burn all these carbon to bring the food to you in the city. Why don't you just move where the food is? Environmentally friendly. You could have a garden and a chicken. Environmentally friendly. So how have Georgia's lawmakers reacted to protest? Well, before I even read this, I'm going to say apparently they've expanded the definition of domestic terrorism to include terrorists from other countries. Moving on from that, they say Sunday's clashes were the latest in a series of contentious standoffs between authorities and protesters. On January 28, a 26-year-old environmental activist was shot and killed during a police raid to clear protesters from the woods. In the aftermath of the shooting, demonstrators spread to downtown Atlanta. On the January 21st, a police cruiser was set ablaze and windows were shattered when rocks and fireworks were hurled at a downtown skyscraper housing the Atlanta Police Foundation. Such protests have prompted Georgia state lawmakers to look at toughening laws in sentencing, for instance, by proposing that the rioting be made a felony rather than a misdemeanor. Turns out throwing Molotov cocktails into police cars was a misdemeanor in Georgia. Yikes. Those previously arrested during clashes at the site are being charged with felony domestic terrorism, which can carry sentences up to 35 years. Again, like 2 of these people were from Georgia. They got arrested. So everyone's come from a long ways off to commit. But if they're still within the country, coming from within the country, that's domestic terrorism. France and Canada are not domestic, guys, right? They're not. I don't know what states you guys think Canada is, or what's the capital of the state of Canada or France, but they're not states, Georgia. They're other countries, foreign nations, okay? All right. Despite criticism of heavy-handedness, lawmakers are also looking at classifying domestic terrorism as a violent felony. Oh, God damn my head. The definition of terrorism is to commit violent acts in order to push your political agenda. And now we're going to reclassify terrorism as a violent crime. Georgia, please don't do this to me. Oh my God. That would mean an individual's entire sentence would have to be served. Even for first-time offenders who would not be eligible for probation, and parole could not be granted until at least 30 years of the sentence had been served. These are stupid children. They left a music festival. They probably drank the purple acid, and then they left and started Molotoving shit. And you want to put them in prison for 30 fucking years? 30 years? Come on, Georgia. Oh my God, parole couldn't even be granted for 30? Fucking shit, Georgia. I understand it's annoying. They're, these stupid kids and their Molotovs, and they are violent, and they need to go to 30 fucking years? Give me a break. Critics have voiced alarm over what they see as the criminalization of protesters. Well, protesting and throwing Molotov cocktails are 2 different things, especially environmental and land grab defenders attempting to block pipelines and protect woodlands and waterways by labeling eco-terrorists. Okay, yeah, because environmental activists and land, they're land rights defenders and stuff, they're usually pretty violent, yeah, but, you can't just... And by labeling them eco-terrorists, eco-terrorism is a real thing, but they say the breadth of the 2001 Patriot Act allows the government to put corporate profits before land stewardship and the public good, with lawmakers criminalizing peaceful protests and using militarized police to violently suppress it under penalty of harsh sentencing. Okay, guys, Molotovs, once again, not peaceful protest. Blocking pipelines and protect woodlands and, by force is not peaceful protest. So let's just get fucked on that, and the Patriot Act can get fucked too. Atlanta police brace for further protests. No shit. You think? You think, dipshits? They say they're prosecuting those charged. Beyond the 2 foreign nationals charged with domestic terrorism, 2 of those arrested were Georgia residents. So 2 of them were from Georgia. And they're there to save a stupid urban forest for the city of Atlanta. Because, no, they're just there to party, guys. They're just fucking college kids. And you want to give them 30 fucking years because they just want to party and throw a Molotov cocktail. Yeah, I don't know. Give them 5. Atlanta. Georgia. I know your state's stupid. You don't know that domestic means from inside the country. I understand that. I know that you don't know that terrorism is already a violent act. Okay, like I get that, right? I get that. But Jesus fuck, put some kids in jail for 30 fucking years. Oh, well, anyway, this looks like a big giant shit show. I'm not taking a side. Kids throwing Molotovs are stupid. Georgia's stupid. This is what happens when stupid meets stupid and clashes in epic stupid proportions. But that's about all I have to say about that. Thanks for watching.